while I feel the same.
Got something to say to lovers turn to strangers, but they stay fools. I'll break the chains, take the pain to save you. Save you, baby, I've been high and low. All the feelings I won't show. It's better if I let you go. You'll be better off alone. Pretty little fears I got, second guessing every shot. I won't lie, no I won't lie. I'm free but now I'm lost. Freedom comes at a cost. I won't lie, not this time. It's better if I let you go. You'll be better off alone. Ain't nothing we haven't tried. I'll sing you one last goodbye, and I won't think twice. So, ready or not, I'll go. I'm setting you free for sure right now. Don't ask me how.
Thought I had her in a lucid grip, that I'd take my time. She keeps calling and she just won't quit, and we all know why. Screws tried to lure me right into an affidavit. Remind me as I'm falling in, I'm out of time. I'm caught up in your tongue, they say. You claim that you love me, but it's just another play. I'm stuck inside your room all day. You say it's for my safety, but I'm just one of your prey. She's got a gun and a bag, and she's waiting for you. She has the time to decide how she's gonna kill you. You can keep running, keep your eyes wide open, but you never see it coming, no use. She's got a gun and a bag, and she's waiting for you. She's got a gun and a bag, and she's waiting for you. Hidden kisses always felt so sweet that they left me blind. Making promises we just can't keep, and it felt so so right. Screws tried to lure me right into an affidavit for your mommy as I'm falling and I'm out of time. I'm caught up in your tongue, they say. You claim that you love me, but it's just another play. I'm stuck inside your room all day. You say it's for my safety, but I'm just one of your prey. She's got a gun in a bag and she's waiting for you. She has the time to decide how she's gonna kill you. You can keep running, keep your eyes wide open, but you'll never see it coming, no use. She's got a gun in a bag and she's waiting for you.
Welcome to the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. You're watching our coverage of ECAC Collegiate Overwatch. And within the Swiss bracket of ECAC, Boise State, Bay State, SCAD, and Minnesota are the big four names looking to take down each other in game. And of course, as fate would have it, we have two of those big names meeting tonight, Boise State versus Bay State, to see who is going to make the top name for themselves in this tournament. I'm your host, Jacob Jem Palmer, joined by Artie Nerdybird Rain to call all of the action for you tonight. And this is probably one of the most exciting matches that we have. Bay State usually been considered, if not one of the best, one of the best Overwatch programs in the nation. And so Boise State, this isn't going to be any easy role for them. We have our work cut out for us tonight.
We definitely do. We faced off against Bay State in this very similar situation last year, and unfortunately did lose out to them. Bay State then had to go on to play Northwoods back-to-back, and that did not play out in their favor. So both teams kind of back for blood, looking to put themselves in a very similar position as they were last year, with teams having roster swaps and things change around. But for Boise State and Bay State, things have remained very static as far as those player rosters go. Except for Boise State now has brought in the Matt Merck, so that might be their trump card going into this game against Bay State, as Matt Merck is one of those top-tier players that we've managed to rope into our program here at BSU. We'll see if that plays out in our favor going into these next couple of games.
Yeah, Boise State has really strong tanks and really dedicated tanks this semester, and when you have someone who's used to playing tank, a dedicated tank, and not having to swap someone else into that tank role, Boise State has really been a force. But let's take a look at the event tonight and see how things will work out. This is the ECAC Overwatch match, Boise State versus Bay State. Most normally it's best of 5 starting out on Control, so we will see what has been chosen tonight. And just there we go. It seems like it's going to be Control, Escort, Hybrid, and Assault. Best of 5, 6v6 competitive. And of course, one other thing we get to before every single game is Doc's keys to the game in Overwatch. And tonight, Doc's keys to the game in Overwatch are going to be never take a fair fight. And that means to take fights in unexpected places when your opponents are unprepared. And of course, take advantage of any tempo you can get. Those are Doc's keys to the game, brought to you by Drop-In Gaming, the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition. Play your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry matches and tournaments. Whether you are new to the scene or a seasoned veteran, Drop-In Gaming has the right games and competition for you. To begin your competitive gaming journey, sign up at dropingaming.com. And now we take a look at the opening lineup that we have for tonight. Nerdy, you've been just kind of talking about some of these great players. You mentioned Matt Merck. Who are some other players in the Boise State lineup we should watch out for?
We're going to have Kellen McGurkin. Kel playing that Diva and Flex Tank role, probably the best Diva player in the collegiate space. I will say that, and I will eat my words if I must, but I highly doubt I'll have to do that. And then we have Goblin and Plato rounding out our DPS role. Maxwell is currently in Salt Lake City, Utah, so he will not be here with us tonight. And then we have Chosen, John Ranella, and then Bagel, Jordan White coming in for our support players this evening. Both our supports have been working a lot together on making sure their rhythm and what they're going for is just in sync without having to clutter up comms together. And we might see some backline flanking from those two if the opportunity presents itself, but they'll have to be careful with that, as that is something Bay State will take advantage of if they notice the team is playing split. So I pray that those two don't go for that during this match.
Well, that lineup is brought to you by Count Identity Trust Global Network, delivering real-time fraud prevention, account protection, and enables personalized customer experiences, more than 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. We are just about ready to jump into the matchup tonight. Boise State versus Bay State, two of the top Overwatch collegiate teams duking it out tonight. And we've talked a bit about Boise State's lineup, so you with kind of a more varied background in Overwatch, a more involved background, I should say. What is it about Bay State that makes their program so strong?
Well, I'll be honest, they have some heavy hitters as far as their tank, DPS, and support lines as well. They also have something that Boise State kind of doesn't tend to do. All of our players are well-versed at playing every single one of the heroes that go into their hero pool for the tank, support, and DPS, so if need be, they can swap. But Bay State has heavy set people on specific characters for specific roles, for example, Meekin being one of them. If Meekin is swapped out, prepare for Bay State to be switching to a very heavy Brig comp. If Meekin is not here at the very start, that means they're rolling out on a Brig comp. We'll have to wait and see, as when the doors drop, we'll be able to see the comps that these two pull out. As you mentioned earlier, we are playing on Control. This is your classic King of the Hill map. Both teams fighting for control at this point. When the doors finally go down, we'll see what comps they have, and we'll see what playstyle each side is going for.
Home team picks first, so whoever was considered the home team here, a little bit tougher since everything's virtual, but there is a team that is considered the home team that decided to choose Oasis for the first Control map. And so, as we said, it's going to be very crucial to see what the loadouts are going to look like, who we see, who we don't see. And here we go. Boise State. Oh.
We did have Boise State come out with that initial TP. It was most likely to have been Plato. TP the team out so they get to the right side. They're going with the Brig ball, with the Brig Zen Diva ball comp. Diva's going to be sticking by the supports, while Tracer and Ball are going to be going in and diving, trying to get some damage out. Both teams, though, Depresso and Senzu, which is Goblin, playing that Somber role, going to be making the life of these Wrecking Balls difficult.
Kel's automatically going to be taken out of their mech and is getting almost pushed off the edge there, but is going to be mowed down by Abs before the environmental can go through. Abs doing a great job on that Zen, already picking up a double. Inferno also with their own double. Bay State taking the first point.
We do see Abs pick up Chosen there at the last second. As far as ultimates go, it looks like Depresso is going to be slightly farther than our own Goblin here with that EMP blast, meaning Chosen needs to get their ult up, or Bagel does, possibly even Kel. All three of those ultimates can be used to counter an EMP. If the team plays spread out enough, Kel can throw their bomb in tandem with the EMP, launching onto their back line to force the enemy team of Bay State backwards and not be able to capitalize on the EMPs as much. But right now, Senzu's slowly catching up to that EMP of Depresso. But Depresso definitely is going to have it first. EMP bomb's going to be coming out here soon from Boise State. Our apologies. The Boise State is on the right side and Bay State is on the left. So you do see Plato's ultimate get eaten there.
Yeah, that's a great way to start it off for Bay State. The first ultimate Boise State gets is going to get negated. And already looks like Bay State is going to have the advantage here in this fight. We see Transcendence being used by Chosen. It's going to be matched on the side of Bay State as well, and the hack is going to go out from both. Both Sombras as well. Self-destruct is going to be brought out by Inferno. Doesn't pick up anybody. Madmark is going to try to make some space with that minefield, but it's chosen taken out. Answered back by Kel, so both Zens are going to be sitting out for the remainder of this fight. And there goes Neb using that Brig ultimate. And there he was talking about Brig a little bit earlier that we might see Bay State using. And overall, Bay State with a few picks at the end there are going to keep the point.
We have Cabe taking out Matt Merck on the ball a little late there. Plato goes down to Cabe immediately thereafter, staggering out Boise State's side of the respawns quite a bit. Now that we're hitting the 86th percentile mark, Plato's going to have to be looking to get their ultimate down on someone to open up the back line for Boise State to have an easier push. We see Briggle come out from Bagel and Chosen both get taken out. Abs and Nev picking up the backline players for BSU in due fashion, so they capitalized on that Lucio swap from the Zenyatta, and with that, Bay State will close out round 1 with a 100% tick mark on the King of the Hill, and Boise State getting nothing.
I gotta say, I'm really impressed with how lethal Bay State supports can be. I mean, they were essentially their own DPSs there. Now we're gonna head in to a bit more of an enclosed space. Nerdy, why don't you tell us what we can look out for on this particular stage?
So one of the biggest things that Boise State's strategic coach Elevote has been strongly stressing for BSU not to do is, on this point, lots of teams like to do a single line conga and cha-cha into that small space on the side of the map where there is that mini pack, and that is playing tiny Overwatch and is a death trap for anyone that is involved. We do have a pause coming out right here, so it'll give me a little bit more time to talk, thankfully. So with Boise State needs to be looking not to get in there. Instead, what they're going to start to look to do is they're going to try to get to point first and surround and conquer that point to make sure they have as command of as much space as possible to force Bay State back off the point or even into the tiny Overwatch room, but they themselves not go in there. We do know that Sun Tzu, a.k.a. Gucci Goblin, a.k.a. Goblin, the man of many hats, likes to play that. The
player formerly known.
Yes, the man of many hats likes to play that Doomfist role. Yes, he does die a lot, but his motto is the I go dive the back line, I take out a support with me, a 1-to-1 trade that you're down me, they're down their support, we're up by my standard. We could see that happening here as that's Goblin's trick of the trade. However, if Neb is still going to be in on that Brigida, Goblin needs to time it very well. And Kel most likely in that case will be playing the Zarya. And if Kel is in there playing Zarya, you can expect the bubbles not to be saved for Matt Merck if Matt is choosing to be on the Reinhardt or even a ball in that sense. But most of the abilities being used to protect Goblin as he goes in for those backline dives, and we just have to pray he takes one person out when he himself goes down, because that's almost guaranteed. It's going to be a 1-to-1 trade. We're just hoping to see either Neb or the other support go down in that process, so Neb or Abs go down and Goblin go down in the process as well. Sorry, Goblin, I know you'll spend time on the respawn screen, but I know that in your mind it's worth it.
So one thing that I'm picking away is reverse the urge to do the cha-cha into the space.
Yes.
It's a parade, but it turns into a parade of pain very quickly.
Yes, it does. We do not like to play tiny Overwatch. Space control is the biggest thing, especially on this map. And possibly if we're playing a more boop-heavy comp, we're going to be looking to control the space, but also bait them into it, surround and conquer, and drop one down the hole. Because even if they're still alive, they can't do much when they're underneath the map.
I like when we play golf here on this map. It's just, you want to be the one scoring the hole-in-one. So let's see if Boise State can turn things around after an unfortunate start for them. Matt Merck's already going to be taking a bit of damage, going down to about half health, but looks like he is able to heal back up. Depresso taking a lot of damage. That's going to be the first pick for Kel, and Boise State is off to a great start so far. Faded also taking a bit of damage. Going to be saved by the Immortality Field, but Kel picks up Kate with a melee to the face. Kel is taken out of their mech, showing off those Baby Diva skills. Gob also getting a pick onto Fate, and Boise State starting things off right, getting the point.
And you can see that Bay State, they're on the left side still. We will eventually get that HUD swap. Depresso initially was on that Doomfist. Looks like they did their scouting, knowing Senzu was going to want to go in on Doom as well, trying to match them. Instead, they decided to go with the Cassidy pick, and Depresso will go down immediately to Sun Tzu's Junkrat mines. Going to this next fight, it does look like Fade is going to be close to their ultimate. Chosen has that EMP. The Matrix goes out, Abs and Inferno will go down, Shatter's online almost for Matt Merck. They just need to land a couple more hits here. Unfortunately, we have burned our Immortality Field, so now Boise State needs to be careful. If they get shattered, and Chosen does not have Immort up, things are going to go bad, and barrier for Matt Merck is low. But here, Tyler comes out. Matt Merck takes out one, two goes down to Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu takes out another. It is just Diva left standing. Stagger the baby, do not let Pilot do anything, and hear Sunzu screaming, meaning Depresso was on the back line, returning the favor for that early kill on Sunzu. Both will respawn in due time, but Inferno only at 50% on Mac, very low. Now Boise State's looking to take them out to slow this down. We hear the males go. Matt gets the line, but gets shattered.
That Boise State, I was thinking all this time keep ults first, and that helped them win the last fight, but right now they're having a bit of trouble as Bagel is actually trying to even this up, as well as Goff taking out Nep.
No,
But the wall off the edge, Plato's gonna have to fight another day. But overall for Boise State, stalling out the point, not too bad. They're only above 80%.
And the bomb goes off, doesn't fight anything, the kid goes down. That Merc, and Abs and Faded will go down. Now Boise State cleaning this up. They were down heroes, played it slow, spread out, used their ults to their advantage, capitalized on space. That was beautiful. 4% left, 3 seconds remaining. Inverse trying to touch, will not. The bomb goes off, but it's too late. Boise State wins match 2. Well, map 2.
And see, that's always a good thing when you manage to kind of throw me off there. It's like, I'm already kind of setting up, well, you know, they kind of lost this. At least they got it up to 80%. They're in single fight territory. And the Broncos are like, no. We're winning this here, and we're winning it now.
So the big thing that Elevate's also been working with this team on is when they think the fight is done, which is they are down 2, or they're up by 2. They start talking about the next one. So they thought that fight as well was done. But someone in the comms said, no, we back off. We give up a little bit of space here. We are down by 2, but so are they. So we let them bait into our point, and we ult back at them. That's what they did. They reclaimed the space, didn't even let point flip. And that is what won them that fight. They cannot give up. They play like they are expecting the victory, and they're playing to win, and they're going to continue to do that. Let's see how this next one shakes out.
Well, it looks like Gob is going to be sticking on this Junkrat here. Worked out very well for Boise State in the past. They also have brought out that May, so we're going to see how those walls work out, if the Maul can in fact work for Boise State. What's interesting is we still see some swaps being brought out by Bay State, so they are proving very flexible in what they want to do here. Here we go for the first fight. Some damage being traded between both teams. Plato taking a bit, Chosen taking a bit, but they do heal back up. Inferno is down to about half health on their Diva, though, so their mech is going to be threatened. And look at this flank here being brought out by Gob, but isn't able. I thought he was going to be able with the mines, but Bagel is the one who gets the pick onto Abs, and Inferno and Depresso are fighting back. Bagel is eliminated, and Gob is not able to mow down that Diva. Instead, Depresso with a double, getting the point for Bay State.
So looking at these comms, if you don't know how they play, it seems as though the healing advantage is heavily in favor of Boise State. Yes, it is, but Boise State's looking to get a lot of fast damage, get an early pick, go in and take them out. The issue, though, is that with the supports that Bay State is playing currently, the Mercy and the Zen can stay in a safe spot having Diva with them. Ball, Mercy, and Echo are going around with a little help from Tracer and getting a lot of damage. Diva's just playing backup and support onto the Zenyatta player, and that can be very difficult to take out. We can't see Abs get walled there. The pulse bomb goes out and does not take anybody down thanks to the immortality field, but the copies come out. Faded goes down. We hear May ults go off. There's probably going to be a res, but Abs goes down. Res opportunity needs to be taken away right now. Boise State wants to maintain this win. Echo's copy's gone down. Now we hear a hack try to go off from Sun Tzu. It does not land, but Diva's demeched and they could be down. Matt Merck goes down. Mercy has an opportunity to get a res. Plato's looking to pop this ult to maintain this lead. They do it at the last possible second.
There goes that Valve going to be used by Neb, and also Neb, there goes that res you were talking about, Nerdy, and Cade is going to take out Chosen. After that fight, Bay State still managing to drag this out, pushing it to almost about 60% now, and Boise State is going to find themselves pushed back in their own core, in their spawn. As Bay State makes room for themselves. A lot of damage being pushed onto the Broncos, especially Kel, who finds himself at half health. Boise State is going to have that little bit of survivability, though, with that sound barrier, as they're going to be ready to push in here. We'll see what route they decide to take.
We've seen the swap over from Plato onto that leg. The Soldier 76 bomb goes out, picks up none, but Matt Merck's shield is hurting. They don't have to worry about a shatter. But now Sun Tzu has the ENT blast. It goes off, picks up multiple. Abs and Neb both go down. Diva out of mech. Very little health left to dwindle. Espresso trying to come in and get some damage themselves. We have a shatter on lockdown to take out those tanks as they roll in. Boise State has the point. They're in one fight territory, though. They need to be careful. They have 3 ults online, as does Bay State. So he who ults first wins this fight. They need to ult in the right spot, though.
I do like how Boise State was judicious and how they used their holds to push themselves within a fighting chance here. It's going to be a tough ask for them to just keep control at this point, not let it give up to Bay State at all. So we see Cave, that Tracer, is going to continue to be doing that chip damage off Boise State's flank. There goes Copy. It's going to be brought out onto Gob, and a very crucial pulse bomb is going to go onto Plato. Bagel, in response, is going to use that Sounder to try to make Boise State live, but that's a huge EMP that is brought out by Depresso off the Copy, and Nev also using the Valkyrie. One final last desperate shatter I don't think is going to be enough for Matt to turn this around. Bay State wins that engagement.
There is 7 seconds left on the clock for Boise State to get a touch on this point. Fate is going to take out Plato. And Mercy will take out one as well. We hear the bomb go off. It's not going to touch in time, nor will Kel. Bay State will walk away with the win on Oasis, but this is still a best of 5. So we have at least 2 more maps to go, or we can see this begin a reverse sweep, even if Bay State wins the next one. And it looks like Abs is going to walk away with the play of the game. I'm pretty sure this is from map 1.
Yeah, I was saying that these supports are essentially their own DPSs here. This was actually one of the early engagements here. Boise State just really couldn't recover, and it was why Bay State kind of had dominance over that first game. Well, one of the sponsors of Boise State Esports is Drop-In Gaming, the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition. Play your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry matches and tournaments. Whether you are new to the scene or a seasoned veteran, Drop-In Gaming has the right gaming competition for you. To begin your competitive gaming journey, sign up at dropingaming.com. Now we're going to head into map number 2 very shortly here, as Boise State is going to have the choice here, so maybe they can choose some sort of sneaky strategy to try to even this up.
And if I do remember, I think the second map, so it's Control, Hybrid, Escort, Assault, and then Control not played.
Control, Escort, Hybrid.
Oh, my apologies. So next one's Escort. I'm anticipating we're either going to see Dorado or possibly Route 66 come out from these teams. However, those are maps that also play into Bay State's playstyle quite strong. So perhaps we might see a wild card get thrown as well in the form of maybe Rialto, because if they do decide to do that one, it can put Bay State on their back heels a little bit, because it's not a map that we see as frequently. It is available in the map pool. I personally would love to see Boise State pull out a Rialto, because I feel like they have an opportunity to have a really strong comp into that. But honestly, it's up to them. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe one of them would be kind enough to shout at us right now which map it is, but of course, you know, no one really understands what it feels like to be a caster left in the dark.
Well, we'll have to be left in the dark for a little while longer. I think we'll take a short break, be back with what Boise State has decided to choose, and we are going to be back after this short break. Or...
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your Guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up, Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome back to Boise State's coverage of ECAC Collegiate Overwatch. We are currently watching two of the top Overwatch collegiate teams go at it tonight. It is Boise State versus Bay State. Boise State is certainly meeting up against a very tough rival. They have gone down 1 in this best of 5, but they are going to have choice on round 2 escort, so we are going to bring you their choice, what they think that they can do to change things around as soon as we can. I'm your host, Jacob Jem Palmer, joined by Artie Nerdy Rain to talk all the action tonight, and we knew it wasn't going to be an easy fight tonight, and Bay State certainly proved to be tough opponents. Now, Boise State did win 1 in that control, and that control, as we are just kind of recapping, was Oasis. So what was kind of the key turning point that allowed Bay State to clinch victory in map 3 of Oasis?
Honestly, I think it was that echo swap from Depresso that they pulled out for map 3. Boise State obviously had not been playing a lot of hit scan at this point, while Plato and Sunzu Goblin, I'm going to keep calling him Goblin, are both very gifted hit scan players. They did not predict that, and so the swaps came out far too late from Boise State to be able to capitalize on the swaps that they made, and Bay State just played the unpredictability card. Well, both teams are playing very, very similar comps, and Boise State knows how to play into the comps that Bay State is playing, and the reverse is also true. This is definitely going to come down to a game of mistakes and who has the upper hand coming out as soon as the spawn doors drop. And that, like I said earlier, we're possibly going to see Dorado, Route 66, or Rialto going into this next match. And based off that, we can probably guarantee if it's Dorado or Route, we're going to see a Wrecking Ball comp come out from both teams.
Now, the graphics we saw there were suggesting Kings Row, but that's a hybrid map.
That's a hybrid map.
Now, you know, if Bay State wants to play Kings Row for the I know that there's just that habit, you know what I mean? You play Kings Row second map. It's just so ingrained in everyone's collective conscience that indeed it's just going to happen.
It is hybrid, so
okay,
yes.
Okay.
We're on Kings Row, so winner got to pick sides. I'm assuming Boise State's going to be on attack here first, most likely, unless Bay State choose to go with attack, which is not the best thing in the world to do, to go attack first. Defense has the upper hand typically with these coin flips on this one. And so we can anticipate Boise State's on the attack here. I did see a Diva. I heard a Reaper voice line. It does look like we've got Diva, Cassidy, Reinhardt, May, Junkrat, and Baptiste for the side of Boise State. And yes, there's the Cassidy watch and learn voice line as well. So I'm 90% positive this is Boise State, but they're going with the May Junk push here, which would be intriguing, especially if they have to go up against the Echo. So hopefully they'll swap off of that and go to a hit scan if they see an Echo pick coming out from Bay State.
Boise State is going to find its very treacherous stepping outside of that door as Bay State pelts them as soon as those doors open. Now Boise State managed to try to go around the statue here, and that's a great May wall. Will the follow-up be brought out? Boise State gets walled off as well, meaning Matt Merck has to stay alive via that immortality field. Forgotten and Faded are going to take out Gob and Matt respectively. Bagel is able to take Inferno out of their mech, but it's going to have to be that little bit of solace for Boise State as Bay State sweeps them in that first engagement.
So both teams pulled out with the exact same comp. One thing that Boise State does do but has not done done recently is typically on Kings Row, you have one of your DPS actually choose to go with a Somber pick immediately, get speed boosted out by Bagel's Lucio. No one else else leaves, you go and scout. They should have done that here to anticipate what Bay State was playing so they could play better into it. But that maze stun, the Cryo will save them, the Immor will save Matt Merck, but now Immor's gone, and Amplification Matrix from both sides goes out. Kel and Bagel both pick up one, sorry, Bagel picks up 2, Kel picks up 2, Inferno picks up 2. Right now, Boise State looking like they've got this on lock. They just need to be careful of Forgotten. 72 on that ultimate can be risky if they manage to get high ground here on the retake, because with Boise State, there's still plenty of time for them to get a touch here, and it does look like Bay State's choosing to go with the simpler option of regroup completely and take the next fight at Arch.
That's going to be one thing to keep in mind as we possibly go into overtime here, is going to be thinking how fast was that first point taken. So Boise State managed to take it in 2 engagements, so we'll see if that pace is matched where Boise State can mount a better defense. But right now, Boise State trying to push past this choke point. They are going to have this Blizzard to aid them in that. The wall trying to throw up, but it's missed. They throw down that Blizzard. Matt also following that up with the Shatter, but against, look at that Lucio standing up against the Shatter and canceling it out for Bay State. That is a great play. Now they're going to throw up their own wall here, and Boise State unfortunately using 2 of their ultimates and not having 1 pick to show for it. Forgotten picking up a double, and Boise State is sent back to start.
Going into this next fight, we're going to have Beat, Deadeye, and Self-Destruct almost online, whereas for Bay State, they're looking at Amplification Matrix. Chosen will get his up as well, so that'll be a 4th for Boise State. And then High Noon as well as Diva, as well as May. Definitely we can trust Kel to beat that Mail so long as the team has communicated those ultimates as well as Forgotten's ult. Unless they're popped at the same time, and Lucio's already gone down, so this could be a lot right unless Boise State finds one. They find Kate. Now they just have to worry about Deadeye coming out, and they should be on block. The spawns are going to be better, but Soldier goes down to Forgotten. Bagel comes in, still has Beat online. Chooses not to use it. It's not needed. The cleanup crew is here. Boise State will start pushing this payload.
By the skin of their teeth, Boise State ekes out the victory. Unfortunately, Forgotten is proving to be a little bit of a pain right now. But Boise State turns around, is able to take him out. And now they're going to be cruising with a great bit of ult advantage here as they're rounding these corners, ready to head to that checkpoint.
Forgotten is very close to another Deadeye. That could be something used just to get Matt Merck's shields down very low to allow the ultimate to come out. We do see Maywall trying to block Sunsu's ult and in the Amplification Matrix, but that's going to zone back the side of Bay State quite a bit. Matt Merck looking for a Shatter here, knowing his shield's going to go down, backing up. The Amplification Matrix is down. Diva trying to get the high ground close to that bomb. Matt Merck recharging the shield, looking to sneak around. Can't pick up one, and let's see if they'll be able to pick up anybody's. Shatter is online for Bolt Reinhardt. Who's going to pop it first? Plato goes down, the Shatter, Forgotten. Well, Shatter from Fate is going to land first. Maverick, Plato, both pick with their lives, Kel thereafter.
Wow, Bay State managing to find a way to pull it together. And something just went horribly wrong for Boise State, and these Shatters seem to be evading Matt Merck. That's the second one he's tried to use that's been canceled, basically.
Sunzu did make it out alive. Forgotten has Deadeye online. Inferno has that self-destruct online. If those are popped in tandem, that's going to be a death sentence for Boise State. They're now hurting on the ultimate front. However, they can gain this back. They have their DPS very close, as does Chosen. They play this one slow and play it methodically. They can bring it back. Sunzu's going for the flank. It might pay off if they can get a stun on someone important. They landed on him first. B comes out. Mayo comes out. Inferno picks up Sunzu. Chosen goes down. And the Amplification Matrix from Chosen's popped as well. But Bay State's hurting. Boise State's down by 1 comparison. Meek and Faded both go down. Bomb comes out and Mayo. Bagel tries to take out Diva before the remake happens. Thankfully does not die to the remake murdering case that could have occurred. They see that there is that they're... Yes, okay, go pick them up, thank you. They were split, go around, but half might go down over here, Shatter over here, self-destruct. Is that gonna be enough? No, Kel is using it to zone. B goes off that too, take out the Reinhardt. Deadeye is up, break the barriers, and see if Boise State can capitalize. Way out, picked up Doomsday. Not something we normally see. May is caught up. Boise State needs to turn around and take May down if they want to win this fight.
Wow, it is such a drawn-out fight, but there goes the main taken out by Kel, as you were saying, Nerdy. Boise State managing to get the checkpoint at the last possible moment. That was just an insane fight, and good news for Boise State is basically everything was used there, so they are going to have the very slight ultimate advantage, but it's quickly going to get evened up as Forgotten is already sitting on this Deadeye, and of course both amp matrices are going to be available. There goes the first one. Boise State is going to be the first one to use an ultimate in this fight. They are trying to snipe, but Bay State has kind of disappeared. Was going for a special sneaky flank route here. Both of Boise State's tanks go into the upper level to try to contest that. Actually, we still see Mapper still hanging out around the point. Senzu is going to get the pick onto Infernal, but there goes a great Deadeye picking up Bagel, and the trade's being traded back and forth as Gabe and Plato are also going to be eliminated. Immortality Field is thrown down as well as that's throwing down their amp matrix right now. Boise State managing to stay even right now as Forgotten takes out Cal, but it's traded as Faded goes down as well. Both these teams very even. Can Boise State even it up right here? It doesn't look like it. Infernal and McCann there are going to pick up Chosen at Mad Merc, forcing Boise State to retreat.
All right, so Meekin right now has the upper advantage when it comes to that self-destruct. Sunzu has their Deadeye. Forgotten is close. Cave does not have their ultimate. Plato is closer than Cave. Both tanks, though, for Bay State are closer on those ultimates than Boise State as Sunzu pops the Deadeye to clear space. Both walls go up. We see Marks out, but it's not enough to break that barrier. May was hiding around the left. Boise State can't take them out, but the offensive beat might be a mistake coming out from Meekin here. It needed to be a defensive ultimate or a trade with another beat. Unfortunately, it won't play out. Spades for Bay State as the bomb goes off. Chosen takes out Faded. Down by one. Boise State can't bring this back. They need to back up and regroup slightly.
Looks like that's what they're going to do, recognizing they still have 40 seconds on the clock, so enough time for one more team fight, and definitely this is going to prove crucial. There goes Faded using the Shatter, but doesn't look like it picks up anybody. Maverick now uses his in response. Cade getting the crucial first pick onto Bagel. Boise State putting a lot of damage on Forgotten, but out goes the Immortality Field, trying to keep Bay State alive. Unfortunately, Cal is going to find himself going down in the bottomless pit of doom, and now Boise State, I don't know if they have enough time to mount full defense here. They're not going to have a lot of time, but they got to get back to the point.
They have enough time, but Matt Merck is probably going to have to make a swap here or one of the DPS. Bagel and Chosen need to stop pushing up past their tanks right now, trying to get his extra angles. It is proving to be that both of them getting taken down. Bagel's going to go and get the touch, but he needs to be careful, cognizant of where his team's at right now. Matt Merck and Sunzu are both going to go down. Bagel tries to go for the group, can't find it. Sunzu goes down. Plato's still alive. He gets off of Bagel. Mail happens. Plato tries to stay alive, tries to take out Forgotten. We hear a Shatter Fade to take out Cal. With that, Boise State will end the first half of Kings Row not hitting point 3.
That can be very crucial there. You know, point 3, kind of something that you would hope to expect, just kind of the main momentum, if you will. Boise State, unfortunately, just not winning both of these engagements 2 in a row. And Cal, unfortunately, just finding himself fallen down in the environmental as well. And Forgotten has been a real big threat here.
Well, you could see right there, actually, in that replay, exactly what I was talking about. Just Chosen trying to go for those off angles to get a little extra chip damage. Yes, it can be worth it, but when you're playing against a team like Bay State, being in an open position like that is going to get you taken out. And Kel recognized that, tried to save them in that moment, also had to sacrifice himself in order to help keep his supports up. And if it puts 2 of your players at risk, it's best not to do it. Take a better angle that does not put you in front of your teammates and keeps you in a safer position. Supports need to be playing their life until they are the last players standing, in which case, yes, go for the kills, go to get eliminated faster. But when you're all up, you need to be playing a little bit safer, playing a little bit smarter.
This isn't the skill level where you're going to be able to make the hero play and you know, clear out all of the team at once.
No, and don't get me wrong. All of these players on both sides are very capable of doing that. But we've discussed this before. At this level of gameplay, it's a game of mistakes, and you're creating a mistake for yourself by putting yourself in a position that's wrapping around in front of your own tank.
Well, one thing that's going to be very crucial that I mentioned earlier is kind of counting the amount of times that Boise State might be able to hold here. Bay State held Boise State for 1 engagement, so maybe 1 or 2 here could be a way that Boise State makes up, although this is a very kind of tough point to hold with the spawn being so far away. Well, there goes the Maywall trying to split up Boise State. Forgotten already picking up Plato. That's going to be a great start. Sunzu also taking a whole lot of damage. Bagel trying to even it up by taking out Faded, but it looks like Bay State is pretty unstoppable as Matt is forced back, gonna get walled off, and here comes the Maul after the wall, and Bay State picks it up with just 1 fight.
Forgotten was on that Widowmaker for a few moments. You can't hear it, but we could hear it in-house. There was a call that the Widowmaker was up, and unfortunately, Plato just peaked it a little too strong when the defense matrix had gone down. That's something to keep in mind is when there is a Widow called and your D.Va calls it, odds are they're trying to tell you to get out of their way. And now Plato's going to pay back that early death by possibly taking out Inferno's mech. They do. That is going to slow down the momentum here for the side of Bay State quite a bit. And now Boise State choosing to go past the archway. D.Va needs to get on the high ground here and make sure that no one's chilling up there. Otherwise, that could be a death sentence, especially with Forgotten being so close to that ultimate. Wall comes out from both sides yet again, and we do see that finally Abs will go down. Boise State backing up across that archway. Now is the time for Kel to go check that high ground. Forgotten has that ultimate. They cannot leave that high ground easily available for any of those DPS. D.Va does go up there, and it does look like it paid off. Someone was chilling up there, and D.Va is up there as well for the side of Bay State still.
Ultimates cascading online for both teams. We will see who chooses to press Q first. As Forgotten brings out the Deadeye. Plato in response brings out the Blizzard. Both Blizzards are out. That's a great pickup for Gob there. Deadeye picks out Faded, and Meekin also eliminated by Plato. It goes cascading towards Boise State. All the ults used, and Boise State manages to hold them.
All right, but going into this next fight, we can basically guarantee Faded gets one Fire Strike in. They're gonna have that Earth Shatter online. Matt Merck has Earth Shatter as well. The plan of attack right now is to either wall off the Reinhardt, throw the bomb from Kel over it, or wall Rein, demolish his shield as soon as the wall drops down, let Matt Merck drop that shatter. Unless Bay State does what they're doing right now, which is goes for this awkward split push on two fronts. So D.Va's alone pushing the payload. Everyone else has to drop from that high ground. That is an easy opportunity to take someone out if this Rein does not drop in time with his team. There's the shatter. Matt Merck now looking for his opportunity. We hear the bomb from Kel go off. D.Va's now split from the team. Easy shatter opportunity right here for Faded. Lands on 4.
He is able to take out Faded with the follow-up, and there goes more survivability being brought out by the sound barrier. Matt Merck is unstoppable, picking up a triple. Is there going to be any stagger? It looks like they are going to bring the stagger onto Inferno, and that's exactly what Boise State needs to do at this point. They need to get as much time as they can.
I'm sorry, Infernal. As a fellow D.Va player, I know the pain. But you were left alive, but Forgotten was also taken out quite late there. Inferno did get enough to get their mech back. They're down Forgotten for a few extra seconds, but it does not mean they will not claim space. They have enough to claim space here, but Sun Tzu and Chosen have ults, and those two pop together to get a death sentence as that huge wall goes off. May wall, Sun Tzu wall, Plato goes down, Chosen uses amplification matrix. Boise State's on their back foot now. They gotta be careful. Kel's gonna go down. Matt Merck's in hot water and is going to be losing so much health, just bleeding out all over the place. A cauterization on the wound needs to happen, but it won't, and Matt Merck will go down.
You hate to see it. You throw out your Blizzard, but then the D.Va uses her defense matrix to eat it and then take you out instead.
It's a painful sight to see. Plato has experienced it quite a bit.
Although,
maybe Plato and Kel as roommates should work together on helping Plato not get his ult eaten.
I mean, to be fair, Inferno was staggered, so it's kind of like the duality of D.Va, you know what I mean? It's the payback for being staggered out last time. Well, right now, the amplification matrix is going to be dropped down by Av, forcing Boise State to take a safer route as they do not want to face all of that damage that's being thrown out. Might want to try to bait out a few ultimates from Bay State. We'll see if they can use any right now. The walls go up, and Inferno brings out their self-destruct. Is not going to catch anyone from Boise State as he uses their immortality field to stay alive. And Chosen gets a crucial pick onto Forgotten. As soon as that shatter comes online, Matt Merck uses it. And an amp matrix drop down by Chosen as well. But Cade responds with their Blizzard. Boise State is holding this very well despite being down so many ultimates early on. Sun Tzu is going to use their Deadeye to get some space, as well as the bomb from Kel and the sound barrier being used as well. As soon as Boise State gets their ultimates, they use them and manage to hold before this first checkpoint. Only just about 2 meters away Bay State got from it.
Oh, and the Tracer from Forgotten pushed too far forward, gets taken out. That was a very similar play to what we saw Boise State and Bay State do when Boise State was on the offensive push, popping the ultimates, using the amplification matrix to force the team around the corner. But this time, it worked out in favor of Boise State. They were able to prevent that payload from touching. I don't know if anyone picked up on it, but Plato did a huge play going into cryo during that Deadeye, allowing Bagel to crouch down behind him when Matt Merck's shield went down, knowing it helped protect his teammates. And in that moment, Chosen took out Forgotten. Now the Mayo goes down, not eaten by anybody. Both of the immortalities have gone down. Self-destruct goes out. Faded is taken down. Now it is a 5v6. Boise State up by 2 as Abs goes down. Bay State is bleeding all over the battlefield right now, and Boise State is out for blood.
Boise State is going to continue their hot pursuit. This time, they're going to make sure Infernal doesn't get taken out after staggering them. And Bay State is only going to have one more chance to take this with just about 30 seconds left in Boise State. They've set themselves up right. They have the ultimate advantage. Just can they hold out? They're going to find out very soon. The shatter from Matt Merck. He held it for the last engagement. Will he use it to great effect this time?
I have to say, Faded does have the opportunity to counter shatter. Sunzu, though, Sunzu does not get shattered here when Faded pops their ultimate. They can use Deadeye as a means of pushing back, and they are. Takes out Cade. Now Kel can drop a self-destruct and secure this victory. Keep forcing Faded back, and Boise State will walk away with a Game 2 victory here against Bay State.
Holding it before the checkpoint. It was just about 1 meter away Bay State got from that checkpoint. Boise State having a hero's defense, and Matt Merck picking up the play of the game right here.
And this is the massive shatter from the turnaround split from Bay State. That was game-changing. Incredible play from Matt Merck. Fantastic follow-up from the team. Everything played out perfectly there for Boise State. We're going into a map 3 tied 1 aside.
Woo, this is the type of match I wanted to see. 2 of the top teams going against each other. We have tied it up and will now go to at least a game number 4. So great job by the Broncos. Well, we're going to give Bay State a little bit chance to take a map. We're going to take a little bit break. Do you want to get any quick thoughts, Nerdy?
The only thing I'm going to say is that I hope anyone who's watching doesn't think that I'm extremely biased, because I love both these teams. Honestly, I do genuinely love both these teams. The Bay State players are fantastic human beings. We had the opportunity to beat them in the LAN, but then also, you know, these guys are my family. However, I know the Bay State has the opportunity to go toe-to-toe with them. Boise State, for once, is bringing it with everything they have. So, of course, I'm going to be rooting for my boys. But at the end of the day, both teams, I hope you're fighting to your absolute hardest and best of your abilities tonight.
Well, we'll see how it goes out from here. Both teams are tied 1-1. We'll take a quick break and be back with round 3 after this.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome back to the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We have got a great match here tonight. It's Boise State versus Bay State at ECAC Overwatch. Boise State going up against one of the best, if not the best, collegiate Overwatch programs in the nation. And they have managed to find a way to tie it up 1-1 in this best of 5 in what was a heroic defense on Kings Row. Now we're going to be moving into Escort and see what the Broncos can bring next. I'm your host, Jacob Jem Palmer, joined by Artie Nerdy Rain. And Nerdy, I can't think of a more deflated mood after Boise State failed to take that final point. But they proved us wrong, mounting a 5-minute defensive hold in the second part of Kings Row. It was just insane. And now we have to ask, what is the strategy that Bay State wants to employ if they want to get back in this fight?
So I mentioned it earlier. Both these teams have a very, very with strong comps when it revolves around like the Wrecking Ball Diva dive, or even perhaps both these teams are also capable of doing the double bubble Zarya, Winston, Brig Ana play as well. But ultimately, I feel like they're going to be wanting to go something that's heavily centered around allowing Neb or Meekin on a Lucio. So depending on who they have in for this next one, which considering Meekin just played this last map, it's probably going to be Neb rotating in. They're going to do something that allows a Brigida facilitation, which means we're either going to see a Route 66 or a Dorado, most likely Dorado, and Boise State's going to pick defense first. With that in mind, I anticipate possibly seeing a double bubble comp coming out from Bay State. Boise State, if they scouted this team enough, which I know for a fact Doc Mason do quite a bit of scouting. I've done some scouting on this team as well. We'll anticipate that. And they can play the Wrecking Ball comp, but I'm hoping we see more of a bunker comp to facilitate our DPS a bit more. I hear brooming, little comments right now being made about possibly pulling out an Ash. So I'm anticipating we're actually going to be seeing Dorado going into this next map. Actually, no, it's going to be Havana.
In the grand tradition of us being wrong while casting.
Yes, always getting to be wrong here. We'll have to see how this one shakes out. I'm interested to see what Bay State pulls out as far as their support line goes. Boise State most definitely picked defense first, which means we're going to see a lot of hit scan, lots of high ground control, and that means Bay State needs to pick a comp that goes into a high ground counterplay, or they're going to bunker and play corners, which can mean a very, very slow payload push if they're playing with that strategy. And that also could mean that Boise State will roll them on the offense, depending on how much time is left in the bank if we see this go into overtime. So we'll have to wait to see when the doors drop, and I can talk a little bit more then, but I highly anticipate we're going to see a lot of sniper play coming out from Boise State here. Probably an Ash, and maybe a Hanzo or an Ash and a Widow. Never mind, I'm completely freaking wrong. They always like me to eat my words. We've got Plato and Sunzu locking down the May and the Cassidy. I do believe Boise State is going to be on defense first. Yes, they will. Bay State, we did see that they probably, I think I saw a Widow, I saw a Lucio, so that means Meekin's still in for Bay State as well. And it does look like Boise State's going to be going for the close hold, and they're going to be pushing Kel's mech in slowly but surely into position. When that clock hits the 5-second mark before the doors drop, they will push out, just trying to create as much of a last-minute ditch effort onto Bay State to change comps. And they're going to be holding doors as they do here on Havana. Forgotten will push out too far forward and go down to Sunzu. This is a very difficult defense to break. You have to split push out of doors, but you have to do it in a manner that does not push your DPS in front of your tanks. Otherwise, they'll be walled and mauled, as Boise State likes to call it. We see the inboard go down. Both Maywalls go out, but the second inboard came from Chosen, meaning Boise State had the better advantage there. Chosen does go down, but Faded and Forgotten will go down as well. Boise State has an option. The goal here now, basically, since Chosen has gone down, is to sustain for as long as possible, but die on payload. Chosen, though, might be able to make it back. They do almost have their amplification matrix. Shatter from that takes off everybody. That was huge. Abs goes down, Faded and Forgotten go down in tandem afterwards. Meekin will find Matt Merck. But with everyone almost back, Boise State probably is going to look to inch here, back up, reconvene together on the second corner, and push together. Diva, though, Kel is going to get staggered. The only choice at this point is to get in their faces and say, hey, hit me. But no, because of the retreat coming out from Bay State, Boise State might be able to be back at full force very quickly. But Kel will go down. Deadeye is available. Senzu's going to be looking around this corner and pop it to create space if he chooses to do it now, but no, Boise State's calling for a regroup. They're just trying to get out alive.
Forgotten is on a tear right now as Boise State just throws out the wall trying to survive, but Inferno picking up the demo onto Gob and Matt there. Boise State is just gonna have to respawn. Does not want to get staggered here. I would imagine that they can have at least one more engagement before the first checkpoint is reached, and they are gonna have a whole lot online. Both these teams are basically gonna be full up, so it's going to be a huge fight of pressing queues. And I can't wait to see it. Boise State moves in for the pick here. Sunzu is gonna be the first one. Both of them, the dueling Deadeyes, and Boise State manages to get the better trade off of that, taking out Faded as Kate brings out their Blizzard. Both Blizzards brought up, and the self-destruct for Inferno turns things around in favor of Bay State. And Boise State is going to bring out their own self-destruct. Doesn't pick up anything, but they are still fighting on the point right now as Scout tries to move in, taking out this bat, but is going to get stunned in the process and eliminated by Abs.
Many ults are traded in that fight. Basically, it comes down to Abs having ultimate, Faded having ult, and then Chosen and Bagel both online with their ults. Support ults make it very difficult to recontest, especially when your team pushes out the split like that. Unfortunately, Matt Merck could not touch the payload in time because of that wall, and with that, Chosen goes down as well. Now, Boise State has two options. One, to back up and try to stay alive. They do have a TP up, which is huge from Plato. Great thinking to swap just to allow everyone to reconvene together. Plato's most likely not going to stay on that May. But they now have to think about this. They have two defensive ults going in. Matt Merck almost has ult. The goal here is going to be Plato walling off somebody who's being over-aggressive, such as Inferno, or possibly Faded, or Cabe here, and look to get Matt Merck's ultimate up so the ult economy can be in their favor. But Forgotten already almost has ult as well. So now this is up to Boise State to get better positioning and possibly land their shatter off the right point. But they've given up high ground. Chosen's going to go down. We hear Beat from Bagel go off. Matt Merck's going for the wraparound play. The immortality has gone down. Now neither side has it, but we still have Forgotten in that high ground being forgotten about. He needs to be taken down because he's doing damage and the bleeding needs to stop. Forgotten is low but not going to go down. Matt Merck backing off, trying to get his supports out. Lucio will survive, as will Plato. Now Boise State needs to reconvene. They have time to do so, but no one else can go down right now if they want to retake this point.
Ooh, there's a shot out by Forgotten there. He's already been able to catch Bagel off guard too, so he is the one that will punish you. Two walls go out trying to split up the teams as Cape throws out their shatter, and Matt is going to find himself frozen and charged into Abs with the final pick on that one. Now Sunzu has his Deadeye. He's going to use it to try to turn it around and just get shot right in the face by Forgotten, who also picks up Bagel. And at that point, that Deadeye just seemed ill-advised.
Unfortunately, Boise State basically had guaranteed that that fight was going to be too hard to retake. Once that the second before the last fight had taken, and it took too long for them to clean up what was happening. Once a fight is dead, Boise State needs to stop trying to escape and instead going to just die on payload. Stall its progress a little bit and do not try to get out alive because it just increases the staggers. We see that happen twice and it resulted in 2-point turnovers in favor of Bay State. There's a great wall from Plato, another follow-up wall from Cave. Neither one's really going to be capitalized on. We hear the melee come out. It does get eaten though, so that's a great job on Inferno's part. We do see a shatter pick up two. Now, unfortunately, Boise State on their back heel here is going to look to just try and pick up a couple but die on payload. That's what I'm talking about. They cannot try and stay alive. They did the correct thing there and just ended the fight as fast as possible. Winning this next one, Kel has ult, Matt almost has ult, Chosen, Bagel, Sunzu all almost have ults online. Cave and Inferno are the only two who are going to be able to make anything happen as far as ultimates go, and they're pushed up quite far to try and get extra ult charge for the side of Bay State. That could be a Achilles heel. It Chosen chooses to pop their ultimate before anybody else does. We see the Diva will go down. Matt Merck, unfortunately, will go down, and Forgotten will take out Kel because Boise State did not hit the tab button to look for those swaps that are coming out from Bay State.
And unfortunately, they're going to pay for that. The wall from Plato isn't going to do anything, and Boise State now is in desperation tactics as Kel is trying to get on the point. And he is going to be able to contest for a short bit, but they have less than a meter, and they're not going to be able to get back out onto point. Dragon Strike going to pick up 2, but that's 3 points for Bay State.
Score 0-3.
Boise State can be very guilty of attempting to make these hero plays. We saw that come out from Sunzu as well on point 2 at the secondary fight that was happening, trying to round the corner and go for the Deadeye kill when multiple members had already gone down, and he was the only one who was going to be taking damage. There's no way that that ultimate was going to survive, and Sunzu had to have been aware for it, but went for the Hail Mary play anyway, whereas opposed to just waiting for his entire team to come back online. Yes, giving up the point, but saving that ultimate, they could have installed a lot of time and tempo for the side of Bay State going into point 3. Had he had that Deadeye online in that long corridor after that first corner is hit, instead he used it too early. Yeah, that was I was trying to play it up saying he's trying to turn it around, but deep down in my soul I also knew, no, this isn't the way. But hopefully Boise State has managed to turn things around, and they're going to have a chance and opportunity here on attack. They've got their work cut out for them, but they also have their work cut out for them on Kings Row. So who knows what can happen. I have faith in them to be able to get this. They just have to get it with 2 minutes, about 30 seconds left in the time bank. Either way, it doesn't matter. If they get to point 3, they're going to go into overtime. Yes, they'll only get a minute, whereas Bay State will get 2.5 minutes. That's okay. Time bank only does so much, but at the end of the day, Boise State's just looking to get the 3 points here. We aren't at match point yet for either side. Bay State will be at match point if they win this one, so will Boise State. So the same stakes are on the line. You see Bay State doing the exact same thing Boise State did. Boise State's being smart, though, going the long path, doing the bastion teleport to break this hard-to-beat defense, and it might pay out. We do have a Sigma Reinhardt play coming out as well. I believe that's Plato most likely on the bastion to force back Bay State. No, it's Sunzu on the bastion. They do have one caught out. It's the Cassidy and the May, but the two of them will take out Plato and Sunzu, making this very difficult because they're playing too far split from their teammates. Now Boise State's on their backfield. Matt Merck's going to go down, and a reset's going to have to happen. They need to change things up. I do not think staying on the bastion's the pick here. Sunzu's going to go to the Hanzo instead, and Kel's going to swap off the Sigma over to the Diva.
Well, there goes Forgotten once again. He is just so punishing on these staggers for Boise State. If Boise State finds themselves mispositioned, he is with almost 100% certainty being able to get these picks against the Broncos and stagger them out for time. Now the Broncos are going to try again and dive in. We see Kel trying to go after this. Bap is going to take out the Immortality Field as Zap slows down that Amp Matrix. Chosen just has theirs online as well, but Matt is going to find himself frozen and mowed down with a Flame Strike, a double Flame Strike, but look at Sunzu and Kel fighting back, trying to gain control back of this payload. Chosen drops his Amp Matrix, and Sunzu trying to get a pick here. Kel is going to be able to take out Faded as Cabe is eliminated right as their Blizzard comes online, and Boise State looks like they have managed to wrangle control of the payload back from Bay State. Yeah, that was much faster payload control take than it was for Bay State. When after Boise State lost their their Baptiste player, they did sustain about 1.5 fights after that, losing people in kind of like a bleeding fashion. Losing everyone all at once is typically the strategy you want to go with, and in fast retake here at the corner. We just see Matt Merck and Bagel setting up to go for a sneaky shatter coming up behind. They need to be careful though. Forgotten is quite staggered, but I do not think they're pushing up without Bay State's pushing up without Forgotten. If Forgotten's doing what Forgotten does best in checking corners, Matt Merck's location is going to be given away really fast, and that stun's going to happen. We do see Meekin checking. The shatter goes off anyway. No contest. Cape goes down. Abs goes down. Plato goes down to Forgotten, but Boise State's up by 1. The Reinhardt charges the point. The beat went off defensively. It might be enough. It will not. Faded will go down. Chosen will go down. But right now, Boise State is the one with the upper hand. They see Forgotten not being left behind. Take them out. Diva trying to protect them. Forgotten goes down. Our Diva loses their mech. Meekin comes in to try to give assistance, grabbing that Mega Pack. The Diva bomb comes out. It does look like it's going to take out Bagel. Now the retake from Bay State has occurred, and it looks like Boise State's forced to reset. What a hero Forgotten is. He basically found himself focused down by 3 Broncos, managed to escape, and then comes back with a Deadeye kill, making it a triple overall. He is a DPS that until you confirm that he has been taken out, he is constantly a threat. And because that fight went on so long, Boise State did not start talking ultimates that could have possibly been used against them to retake that fight. And that was in the form of Infernal's self-destruct being dropped and taking out 1. That's all it needed. It just really didn't even need to take out anybody. It just needed to make space. And with that, because Boise State was down just as much as Bay State was, it allowed them to retake. Matt Merck looking to try and get his ult up right here. Nobody except for Abs has anything online. Chosen's close behind, but Abs will pop their Matrix first. We might see Matt go down here. The wall from Bay State will actually save Matt Merck. There goes the amplification Matrix from Matt. It's not going to, well, from Chosen. The Fire Strike will not pick up anybody. Matt Merck has the shatter. It goes on, doesn't pick up anybody, but
It does look like Ryan's going to go down finally to Chosen. Now Boise State's looking to pick up their next target. They need to find someone close. Diva's out of mech. Diva might be a problem, though. She remechs. Inferno will go down. Abs is getting split off, can go down, but unfortunately, because of the split coming out from Matt Merck to take them down, but without communicating it, they will go down in the process. These supports need to go down. The May finds got Plato with the headshot. Beautifully done. The cryo comes out from May. Now it is just Plato on point. They might be able to sustain a little bit longer. Matt Merck needs to come in and touch this payload, though, in order for this to work out. Matt does get the touch, but unfortunately, they're pushed back too quickly.
That just seems to be the main advantage for Bay State is how sticky some of their members are that can just kind of stall these things out and then come back with a force to be able to just wipe the Broncos out, as Faded is going to be the one picking up the play of the game. And this is exactly what I was talking about right off the respawn too. This gets such a good shatter against the Broncos and then goes tearing through them. And Boise State is going to find themselves behind one again, having to even things up in Assault.
Yes, and going into this next map, Bay State's going to be at match point. This just goes to demonstrate both teams are very capable of doing what Boise State did in that second map on Oasis, which is, yes, understanding the fight might be lost, but the battle is not over, and they need to start thinking about what they can do to retake using the ultimates that are at hand, and that's exactly what Bay State was able to do. So when fights are down, when Boise State is down, they need to reset the mental and start focusing on the next fight. Someone has to be in the comms designated to say, okay, this is a lost fight. What ults do we have? What do they have? Or this is a one fight. What do they have? What do we have? Because when Boise State is not prepared, they are caught on the back foot.
Well, we are going to be taking a little bit of a short break. We'll see if Boise State can turn things around. They did it in Kings Row. We'll see if they can do it right now. We'll see if they can do it right now, right after these messages, so please stay tuned.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome back to the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We are currently watching Boise State go up against Bay State in ECAC Collegiate Overwatch, and it has proven to be a very tough match for Boise State going up against what is considered one of the top teams in the Collegiate Overwatch space. Boise State finds themselves behind again, this time 2-1 heading into Assault. So Bay State at match point. Boise State is going to have to win from here on out. My name is Jacob Jem Palmer. I'm joined by Artie Nerdy Rain to call all the action for you tonight. And we don't see Assault as often, you know, now just kind of one of those modes that is going to be eventually on the way out, but for now it is still here with us, and it looks like the pick that is brought, that doesn't look right to me.
So I actually do think ECAC had everything online. Yeah.
Wow.
So everything,
okay.
The current competitive pool does not include Horizon. It does not include Paris, but the ECAC pool does. And Boise State has decided.
I'm glad to see something different.
I feel like this is the Hail Mary of all Hail Mary plays for Boise State, considering I do not remember the last time that Horizon Lunar Colony was actually in competitive rotation. So
wow.
Out of the two maps, yeah, Paris is just a no-go for anybody. I don't feel like even if you're looking to give your team the advantage with it, it just does not. It hurts everybody. It makes everybody's soul hurt. So instead, we're going to go with Horizon Lunar Colony. And actually, I think we have not seen this since shortly after the Horizon rework that took place back during my sophomore time.
It's been a while.
Team. So it has been a solid 2.5, if not 3 years since Horizon Lunar Colony has made an appearance. And Boise State is going to stretch out those ECAC rules. This might be the reason why they make a competitive pool, the only legal maps in the game for ECAC, because this could be the turning point. This could shake things up enough. It is Horizon Lunar Colony, the bane of almost everyone's existence. I thought it was going to be Volskaya Industries, in all honesty. But, you know, Volskaya, there's the trend of getting Volskaya'd, which is just you get rolled and then you roll right back. So it could have been, you know, a four-round just time of just all-out chaos for these teams. But, I mean, Horizon might be the same.
Well, even on something we wouldn't expect in Horizon Lunar Colony, Doc's keys to the game can still apply, and that's never to take a fair fight. That means to take fights in unexpected places when your opponents are unprepared. And, of course, get that tempo. That's Doc's Keys game, brought to you by Drop-In Gaming, the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition. You can play your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry matches and tournaments. Whether you are new to the scene or a seasoned veteran, Drop-In Gaming has the right games and competition for you. To begin your competitive gaming journey, sign up at dropingaming.com. Well, we are about to see it. We got played. We got played. It looks like it's actually going to be Anubis, which is brought out, which is something a lot more familiar to us.
And the thing is with like Horizon Lunar Colony, the issue with that map is once a team takes point A, if you're trying to retake from the defensive position, there's no safe way to get to the high ground as the defending team, and that's why Horizon Lunar Colony is such a bane for anyone trying to play on the defensive side for that, and is very difficult and annoying, because I'm actually quite glad the Boise State's not going into that. However, going into Temple of Anubis could be playing right into the hands of Bay State, as that's a map that is very strong into their comp. However, Boise State is just as strong with the comps that Bay State plays, so we'll have to wait and see. I do suspect that we're going to see a swap out in for Neb on this map to allow Bay State to be a heavy brig kind of stationary comp, so to speak, but that also can play into Boise State's hands, because when Abs and Neb are together, the supports become very, very stationary, as Neb is just trying to protect Abs, and Abs becomes a sitting target for the Boise State DPS and support players. We'll have to see if that comes to fruition in this next map. I just kind of sort of heard them talking about that a little bit, and we saw it ourselves as well. Abs and Neb will be very stationary, so they might end up getting taken out pretty quick.
Although I also heard Boise State talking about Volskaya Industries in between the break, and we all saw how that played out instead. So we are just going to have to see the actual gameplay before we do any sort of judge. Once again, this is Boise State up against Bay State's match point. Boise State has to win from here on out if they want to win this match, as we're ready to head into Temple of Anubis, with Boise State having the choice of map here. That means Bay State will have the choice of which side they want to pick first.
Yeah, most likely Bay State went with the defensive first pick. That's typically the smarter more strategic plan is to be on defense first if you get that opportunity. Since Boise State already got the advantage of picking out the map, and we do see, I believe that's a Widowmaker, so this is most likely Boise State on attack, and I bet that's Senzu, aka Goblin, going for the early Widow play here, and we'll possibly see a Mercy Pocket just for a couple of seconds to get that early Widow pick. We'll have to wait and see, but I also do see a Sigma on the other side with an Orisa, so that also could be Boise State. I don't know yet, because both these teams, as I said, pretty equally matched. We see a Widow on both sides. Their hero pools are very similar.
I just appreciate that great Murloc decal on the I adore Murlocs. If there isn't some sort of Murloc replacement in the push mode coming up, I'm going to be sorely disappointed. Well, here we go. Boise State is going to be the ones to push first here on attack. And Plato using some very quick moves to go into this side route here. We'll see if Boise State follows them or if they peel off to the side. They're going to go the separate way here, trying to get the high ground. It looks like they are managed to get through without being caught out, although Sunzu went very low there on health, so almost getting caught out himself. Boise State still yet to push onto the point. They're just waiting for this right moment. And unfortunately, with Infernal taking Plato out, that moment doesn't look like it's going to arrive anytime soon, as Bagel is also taking a bit of damage, and Boise State is just kind of find themselves awkwardly standing in these enclosed spaces after that pick.
So unfortunately, Boise State did their play here wrong, and that is because what is supposed to happen is they're supposed to reconvene at that Mega Pack, wait there. If the team is holding that high platform where we just saw Matt Merck jump from, they push there. If they're holding this platform, they're supposed to turn around and go back through and ram barrage straight through the enemy team. But unfortunately, they decided to go two different routes. Matt Merck looked like they're getting positioned to do the dive onto the mid platform, whereas Plato went for a cheeky kill from behind and got themselves taken out in the process, forcing them to reset this entire thing.
And that's kind of what we've been talking about. I'm sorry, I just wanted to get this point in because we have been talking about, you know, the need to play as a team right now. You know, you can't go for kind of those solo hero plays. You gotta find your strategy and work towards it all together.
Yes, they need to do the plan thoroughly here, which is take that mid-platform by the Mega, reconvene, get your abilities back, force Bay State to try and do some chip damage and use their own abilities, and then push through onto that middle platform together. We did see Matt just burn his jump to try and force Echo to get their beam out, and Tracer's going to move out as well. Now they're pushing in, and we're going to have Chosen's Coalescence. We hear the Graphitic Flux come out, Plato goes down. A hack from Sunzu does take place as well, Forgotten. Though only one with one pickup, Cade follows it up, taking out Sunzu, and it looks like Chosen's going to struggle to keep people alive. That barrier you cannot heal through, unfortunately.
Now Chosen's going to find himself just staggered out by Bay State. Boise State 2 times is finding themselves just struggling to get past Bay State's defense, and it's just sometimes how it works out on Assault. Sometimes you just win in a landslide, and sometimes you just don't get to play the game.
I'm going to call that second push calculated, though. Though Chosen's respawn is going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt, it's going to be okay, because what happened during that last push was the Graphitic Flux came out, as well as I think one Neb's ultimate as well came out for Bay State. Yes, we burned Coalescence, but now look at the ults online from Boise State. They're going to have EMP Bomb online. Plato can find an easy drop with that Pulse Bomb, possibly onto Forgotten or onto Neb, forcing out a Immortality Matrix in the process. Neb's going to go down to Sunzu. We hear the copy come out. Bagel and Kel will each pick up a couple, as does Plato. And with that, Boise State's probably going to take this point, as the only ults online for the side of Bay State is Faded's ult. Faded won't make it there fast enough.
All right, but this is going to be a little bit having their work cut out for them in terms of this second point, because it is so difficult to take it all in one go. You just have to kind of chip away at it, tick after tick, and Boise State had so much time burned away in that first push that it's going to be difficult for them to reach that task. We'll see how they do it. We see Matt actually might have an idea here with this Primal Rage. Is going to try to go into the back line. There goes Self-Destruct, is going to take out Faded off the bat. Chosen follows up with the Coalescence and a boop onto Neb as well. Boise State is taking this point with ferocity. Can they get at least one tick? Well, that's a great double from that Coalescence by Chosen. Matt Burke following that up. They get at least 2 ticks. Will Bay State be able to respond in time? Oh, they just barely, they just have to stay on that payload all this time, and they go up. Boise State takes it in such stunning fashion.
You know, when you were saying that it was going to be a little difficult, I wanted to say that, yes, but the tank ult ults here are a little OP for that. Because honestly, I expected the Diva Bomb to get thrown in and then Matt Merck to pop his ultimate immediately and start throwing people out of their defensive positions and in the line of sight of the bomb. But that wasn't needed because we had Bagel hit that amplification with his Lucio and just gun chosen in as a beam of terror, burning and microwaving people down to dust. And those two things combined were more than enough. Matt didn't even end up popping the primal. And once you get all 6 people on to that point, you get the extended timers, and there's no chance of retaking that.
Well, now it's just a matter of Bay State can match the pace that Boise State has now. It's going to be crucial, this first point, because Boise State had such trouble taking the first point, and then it was just a landslide to them. So I don't know, what's the standard we want to judge in terms of pacing that says Boise State can hold this defensively?
Honestly, it's going to be interesting. We do see, I bet that's Sunzu on the Torbjorn right there. Yeah, so we've got Torb, Orisa, Sigma, Brig, Bab, and I'm assuming the last pick is something similar to that of either an Ashe or a Junkrat for Boise State. We'll have to see. I could be completely wrong because I've been very wrong a lot this evening.
But I'd be happy to be wrong if it led to Boise State at least pushing this to a Game 5. So
yes, I love to see a Game 5. I love to see my BSU family come out on the top. We do see we've got a Ball Tracer, which means we probably got Brig Zen coming out. Oh, no, Bap for Bay State. It's Ashe for Plato, actually. So we've got the Tracer, we've got Reaper, Hog, and Ball. It's Hog and Ball Torture coming out for Bay State right now with Ana Bap. That is a very interesting support comp to go with, as that is not one that plays into a huge support meta very well. I mean, yes, if you're going for the Beyblade early comps for Overwatch here, it could work out. Boise State has the more well put together comp right now.
Plato's just doing work on this Ashe.
And the stagger.
That's a great pick onto Forgotten as well. Rub salt in the wound, and Bay State, actually, that Reaper took a little bit of a peek outside there. He's going to have to burn their Wraith form to get away alive.
And we do see right now the unfortunate swaps that Bay State's deciding to make because they just came out on the wrong comp. You know, scouting can be huge, and Bay State chose not to scout. You can Sombra scout on this point too, just like Boise State could have on Kings Row. It does play into an ult advantage game, and Boise State's now sitting in a very pretty position. If Bay State pushes to that right, Plato throws one dynamite, hucks a bobbin, and it's sweet good night for anyone who's in that corridor.
Oh, and some of them decided to go that route too. So we'll see what Plato decides to do here. He is just off from the bomb right now. Zamp Matrix is brought out by Nev. Kind of ducks off to the side here. A wave goodbye from Plato saying, I'm going to wait this out and try to snipe you out of the air, and it's able to pick up Cave. But Faded is doing a great job taking out the turret. But Plato fighting back on the Ashe, getting a double onto Faded. Now trying to pick up Inferno as well and get that crucial stagger back onto Bay State.
Matt Merck unfortunately does go down, so now Boise State being down 1 is going to look to pop some ultimates in order to maintain their lead. We do see Sunzu is going to use that Torb ultimate. It's going to take out no one, and Forgotten and Neb will pick up Bagel and Sunzu. Being down their main tank means backup and reset. They still have the opportunity to take this back, especially with Forgotten over-committing on that. We could see a Bob throw to point just to sustain here, and it is an option. Plato looks like they're going to look for it. They are going to the high ground. Gonna hop Bob. There goes the stall. We hear the lift come out. Cave takes out Plato. Chosen finds one. But unfortunately for Boise State, I do think they're down too many to retake this point.
But they are stalling out for a little bit longer, and that Torp turret doing a little bit of work before it gets mowed down. There goes Bay State taking the point. They also use their supercharger as well to take it. So
no, that was Boise State.
Oh, wait, are you kidding me? They actually held that?
Down, but we still have it. Matt Merckx.
What just happened there?
Yes.
Okay, if there was any moment for the activity feed to cut out, that was a heck of a moment there, because I wanted to see what fully happened there.
But we got surprised.
Well, Cal also has his Gravitic Flux online. Boise State is back to holding this first point. Bay State only managed to get one tick on that? Are you kidding me? Boise State, what are you even doing right now? Oh, look at this Gravitic Flux. All lined up in this enclosed space. Up they go, and now down, but Forgotten picking up one with the Dragon Strike, and Cave also eliminating Plato. But Boise State has already held this for far longer than I thought they would. What an insane performance by the Broncos. Sunzu also has this Molten Core up, but he is all alone on the point and isn't going to waste that.
I don't know if if you realize what happened there, Jem, but did you see Chosen's amplification matrix perfectly frame Matt Merck in that corner for the evil toaster play? Unfortunately, Matt didn't have his shield up, so he could not survive. But had Matt had that shield, that could have been a deadly combination.
I'm sorry, my brain has just melted to mush for a little bit, so I'm just going to have to recover. The good news is Boise State held them out for so long that even if Bay State were to sweep right now, Boise State would still be going into overtime with a time advantage. So what a great hold by them, and now they're going to have the advantage of the respawn on this point B to help hold this. Sun Tzu throws out their Molten Core. Plato also throws out the Dynamite. It is going to pick up that Supercharger, so Bay State now isn't going to have any more of that added damage as Inferno has just charged up their Gravitic Flux and is going to use it. Only one member of Boise State getting caught out in it as Plato is trying to take out Forward, who's peeking up from the low ground. Matt Burke finishes them out as Bob is brought out by Cade to get some presence on the point, and one Bob deserves another as Plato throws out their Bob, and it is just a Bob fight back and forth, but with Infernal and Faded taking out both of the tanks gone for Bay State, Boise State manages to hold with no ticks given over to Bay State.
And now they can stagger out the supports. Neb could have survived a little longer, I think. They could have let them stagger and flounder a little bit. But Boise State chipping away at that time bank that Bay State had. Only a minute 50 seconds left on the clock for Bay State. They do not have any ults online other than that amplification matrix from Abs. Forgotten and Cade can capitalize on it, but there's so many angles for Boise State to take here that it will not be the easiest thing to take advantage of. And the ults, just look at the ults that Boise State has.
Well, they're going to put those ults to good use, using both of them, both tank ults and the rally being used. But the only thing to show for it is Kato's Dynamite pick against Neb, and Matt Merck's Supercharger is eliminated by Cade. Boise State goes chasing after Bay State into this closed area, and they're going to meet that Amp Matrix, but Cal is just going to go right through. I don't care about how much damage you push through that Matrix. I'm just going to take you all out at once. And Boise State picks off Bay State again without Bay State getting a single tick.
Cal just basically T-posed to assert dominance in that right corridor. Goes in, uses the accretion hand to suck up all the damage through that amplification matrix, giving him a grotesque amount of shields. He's just like, hey, you think you can kill me? Guess what? I still have my Eon cooldown, ladies and gentlemen. And he used it and just plowed through them. Now the stagger plays, the Hail Mary moments are coming out from Bay State. Faded and Forgotten both go down, accidentally sounding like it's an actual, like, slogan. It's not. They just happen to go down a lot at the same time, and Boise State resets them, and there's only 30 seconds left on the clock.
The good news is Boise State has some great ultimates heading into that, but also Bay State, they've been really good at managing their resources as well, so it is going to be a Q pressing fiesta as we are ready for the final point. But right now, Boise State has already done such a good job that they would be heading into a heck of an overtime right now. We'll just have to see how it works out as Bay State is choosing the side route, and Sun Tzu is going to close out the bridge there, and they try to flank them from the side by throwing out the bomb. Two bombs are going to be brought out, and Faded Supercharger is going to be eliminated by that Molten Core as Forgotten and Inferno are able to Forgotten is able to take out Sun Tzu, but Abs is answered back by Matt Merck, so now it is 5-5 for both, and that is a huge swing in favor of Bay State. But you have to wonder, is the respawn going to work out in favor of Boise State? Bagel is managing to stay alive. Now Boise State is not going to be, no, they do have edge to get back to the point, but a very key accretion is going to push Sun Tzu off to the point. But like I said, quite an overtime that Boise State is going to have.
So the one thing that I was thinking before this fight happened, we can see this fantastic replay from Kel. Just, yeah, there's nothing you can do to stop that. That is a demon on wheels. Going into that last fight, Boise State, I was really hoping that they knew that the combination of ultimates, though they had, both teams had quite equal ults, it was ultimately going to come down to the Graphitic Flux and the Dragons, because landing with that Dragons going through you is so difficult to survive, even with an Immortality field around you, unless you have the ability to pop either Rally at that same moment, in the case of Boise State, or a Beat, or something similar to help keep your team sustaining. However, because Bay State had no time left at the time bank, Boise State is the deciding factor here. We either walk away with a tie with Boise State not getting a single tick here on point A, or they have 2 minutes and 30 seconds, or it might be 1 minute. I don't remember how this one works out. They changed the time bank rules. But Boise State just has to get a tick, and they walk away with this win and put themselves at match point.
I would not want to see a tie here.
I would not either, but, you know, the gods of the game work in mysterious ways, and Boise State does allow very, very few situations in which a tie can happen, and 2CP is that reason.
Again, let the Murloc give you strength, okay? Make like a Murloc and just charge onto the point, get that tick, and you're going to be good to go. All right, we're ready to see how this turns out. Boise State, as Nerdy said, only needs 1 tick here. The worst they can do is a tie against Bay State, in which case we might be looking at a Game 6. And, oh boy, I don't want my voice to face that prospect. So Boise State, please do us a favor here as casters and pick up this point as soon as you can. We'll see if they can do it.
We don't have the overlay yet, but yes, Boise State's on attack. We do see Matt Merck, Plato, and Chosen all go down very quickly.
Well,
now
okay.
Time bank's been burned.
Let's take a mulligan on that one and try to do this the correct way.
Okay, so Bay State is now playing the exact same comp that Boise State had. Honestly, I know it's kind of a crazy play, but going for possibly an Angry Birds comp here or something that has a little bit more splash damage might be more advantageous, because Sunzu going in for these hacks is going to be borderline impossible. That's what Brigida's for. She's there to just throw back the enemy team and flail at that Sombra, making Sunzu's hacks difficult to pull off in most situations. We do see Chosen has swapped over to that Ana though, so now it's going to be the game of poking. There's a huge dynamite, but lowering that shield, getting an anti down as your monkey jumps in, and just eviscerating the team when they cannot get heals is the play that Boise State's going to look for now.
We see, I'm pretty sure that's going to be Sun Tzu just tapping the point there. I think that might be one of the reasons why he's using this Samba, just trying to take the point under Bay State's nose. In goes, there goes Boise State. Matt Merck is going to dive in, but immediately get pushed back off the high ground, and already Boise State has burned half of the time they were going to have for this overtime. Forgotten also picking up Bagel. It's going to be answered back by Plato, though, so maybe this is still pushable for the Broncos. They are managing to make their way through, and Bob does go online here for Boise State. Might just throw him up on the high ground here. That, and also the nano boost being thrown out by Chosen. Can Boise State get onto the point again? All they need is 1 tick, and that's a huge pick from Plato onto Nev. Also using that Primal Fury to just push Bay State back, and I would think that this is indeed what Boise State needs to get onto the point, but Forgotten's going to throw out Bob for that last little bit of defense here. Supercharger has also been thrown down from Faded, but Matt Burke is just going to loop Reen around the Rosie, take him out from behind, and that looks like Boise State has indeed gotten their tick, and it's going to drive this Game 5 unless this Lucio can say anything about it. He isn't going to say anything about it, and Boise State pushes it to a Game 5.
All right, so now we are tied to a side. Whoever wins this control not played comes out on top. Last control win in favor of Bay State. Bay State lost this one, so they get to pick the next control map. They are stationed to come out on top because multiple factors are in their favor. What map do you think Boise State will pull out?
Ooh, yeah, that's...
Bay State will pull out.
Yeah, Bay State will pull out. I mean, I'm so used to seeing Busan and Lijian, it's a little bit odd not to see them brought out first, so it could be either of those, but right now, I think that we need to kind of give everyone a break because the tensions are running very high here. You can see Doc just giving some final words of encouragement to the Broncos. So we're going to take a short break and be back with the final match of this best of 5. It is going down to the wire. Who's going to win? We'll find out after this.
NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome back to the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. It has been one huge night for the Broncos, taking on one of the most difficult teams in the nation, Bay State, in Overwatch, and it has gone to the final game of a best of 5. Both teams are tied 2-2, and we're going to see who is the final victor as we go to the second control match of the night. I'm still your host, Jacob Jem Palmer, joined by Artie Nerdy Rain. It has been quite a return for you to return to casting Overwatch with such a great fight and against such a great team as well. You were talking with the break about Bay State being one of your other favorite teams in the collegiate Overwatch space.
Yeah, I mean, like, yes, I do have teams that, you know, are up there as far as skill-wise for being, like, teams that I would love to have as an opponent be able to go toe-to-toe with. But when it comes to teams that genuinely I would love to just be able to go hang out with, have just pick up games with, go grab a slice of pizza with, Bay State and Akron University are like the two that are up there. And right now, actually be able to really kind of make my return to Overwatch casting being with Bay State and Boise State. Going against each other toe-to-toe is just so heartwarming for me because these are teams that I hold near and dear to my heart. And I know they're giving it everything they got to just come out on top of this one. And the thing is that this game doesn't really determine either team's seeding in the ECAC tournament. This really is more for the morality victory for both teams, and they're still giving it their all, which is absolutely amazing to see.
Well, before we get to the final game, we want to give one final recap on Doc's keys to the game in Overwatch, and that's never to take a fair fight, and that means to take fights in unexpected places when they are unprepared, and of course take advantage of any tempo you can get. Those are Doc's keys to the game, brought to you by Drop-In Gaming, the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition. You can play your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free or paid entry matches. Whether you are new to the scene or a seasoned veteran, Drop-In Gaming has the right games and competition for you. And of course, we can take and also look up to the stage to see the lineup one more time. Doc giving the team a pep talk before the final match. And that lineup, again, is brought to you by Count Identity Trust Global Network, delivering real-time fraud prevention, account protection, and enabling personalized customer experiences, more than 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. What a journey this lineup has been through, Nerdy.
Yeah, and our lineup today is going to be the Matthew Mercadante, Kellen McGurkin. Maxall is not in today, so that is actually Joey Pacey. We have the Brian Cran, John Ranella, and Jordan White rounding out that roster. And these guys are fighting so hard for this victory right now. And honestly, this last map, which is Control, you mentioned that like we haven't seen Li Zhang and we haven't seen Busan yet tonight. But I am going to bet that we're most likely going to see Li Zhang. And the reason why is because while both these teams are very equally matched, I feel like Busan plays more in favor of Bay State's playstyle because they were more successful on Oasis, whereas Li Zhang, Boise State has the opportunity. Yes, most likely we're going to see a mirror match regardless of which one they pick, but Boise State has had a lot of success in Li Zhang Tower, especially with their lockdown Symmetra car wash comp that they like to pull out, pulling out the Mei, going for those disgusting TP plays on someone who decides to, try to just break off from the group and get a better angle in comparison to their team. Boise State capitalizes on those and just plays cleanup crew with the car wash constantly, all the time on Lijiang Tower. So I'm hoping they go with Lijiang. But if it's not Lijiang and it's not Busan, I don't really think there's really, what else is there past that?
Well, nothing is really else. Nothing else is in the focus of Bay State, as you were just talking about. Bay State having the advantage of Busan. It seemed that they agreed with you, and Busan has been confirmed as the pick for this map. So Boise State going up against a tough foe on what's going to be a tough stage for them. What is the main advice you can give to them now that it's been confirmed as Busan?
Honestly, play fast, surround and conquer, get those people that are in bad rotation places out of the way. Do not be putting yourself in a bad position and forcing your teammates to do that themselves to save you. So play like a team, play together, and play smart. No one needs to play the hero role right now. Your team is your hero. That is how this game's going to be won.
We can see Boise State. Looks like they're just kind of working through a few issues right now, so we will be ready to join them when the moment arises. But overall, this is kind of a good opportunity to kind of recap how things are going to be working out. This is a 6v6, a best-of-5 competitive. We have seen it go back and forth. We saw Bay State start out on Oasis on control, getting the win there. Then we moved on to Kings Row, where Boise State had quite a hold and won. But then it went back over to, it went to Hybrid on Kings Row, and then it went to Escort. And on Havana, Boise State faced a tough loss, but managed to bring it back in Assault on Temple of Anubis. So it has been a very close and competitive match. Everything has led up to this final moment that we are going to see on Busan. As soon as we get those technical issues worked out, we will be ready to head back at you. But overall, I don't want to call things quite yet, but overall, I won't ask for your final pick for player of the game, but what kind of players have been catching your eyes?
I mean, I feel like this goes, okay. No offense, Matt Merck, if you can somehow hear me, because I know they're focused on other things right now. Even though you had some fantastic plays, I'm going to say you cannot get play of the game for this match, because I feel like Matt Merck walks away with the player of the game quite a bit. Right? I'm not crazy on that one, am I, Jim?
No, I don't think.
Yeah, so I feel like it should be at least going to someone else who's been quite the playmaker, and I feel like that's been Plato tonight. So my vote's actually going to go to Plato, but that might change after this game. Supports have been popping off too, but they've also kind of put themselves in bad situations as well. And while support players can't win you a game in most cases, they can end up being the reason why you lose a game, and that's never something you want to be in that position of. And as a fellow support player, I definitely know that that can happen. But the last couple rounds, they have been doing fantastic and playing as a unit. So long as we don't go for any more hero plays and they play as a team and just play off of one another, I highly anticipate going in favor of Boise State. From there, I might modify my pick of Plato, but right now my pick is Plato.
Well, I do think one person you can't forget is actually Forgotten for Bay State.
Oh, yeah, okay. I was going from the Boise State
Well, yes, but I'm moving it over to Bay State right now, and Forgotten has really stood out to me because he's been able, if Boise State is out of position in any way, he instantly punishes Boise State for it.
Yes, but also Forgotten puts himself in a lot of bad positioning as well, because he likes to go for those hero plays, but it's not as punishable. You also see here where our supports popped the absolute heck off. We had Chosen decide to go do the amplification matrix on that high ground, forcing the team to make a decision. Do they go for Chosen and get him out of position so he can't use that to his advantage, or they go after Bagel? And when they collapsed on Chosen, that allowed Bagel a lot of extra space after Bagel had already done a lot of killing himself. So Bagel's been popping quite a bit and making sure that he's in fantastic positioning. Also, crud ton of sound barriers coming out from Bagel and Meek in this entire game, so that'll be interesting to see how this works out, because I know for a fact that Bagel is the stronger Lucio player in this matchup, and I feel like so long as Bagel's facilitated and doesn't have to be putting himself out of rotation in order to protect teammates, that this could heavily work out in Bagel's favor on Busan, because the Lucio plays are absolutely so important on this one. But we could see a completely different story. We might actually see an Ana pick from Boise State going into Busan, actually. And if we see that, that's going to be the surround and conquer the high ground. Let Bay State actually take the point initially, chip down at the barrier, and then drop a nade from Chosen, because Chosen's just a demon with the nades, honestly, and then just speed boost in with Lucio, pick a target, and eviscerate him.
Yeah, but saying something like take the high ground, that's easier said than done against Bay State, because they so often have been the ones to fight from the high ground themselves.
Yeah, and you heard me screaming that Boise State needs to clear the high ground, needs to take the high ground, get rid of the high ground control, stuff like that. But on a control point such as Busan, it is much easier to get yourself in the position of the high ground, because there's always the dichotomy of the team's strategies going in. There's a team that's going to want to get to point and stay on point, and then there's a team that's want to get to high ground and stay on high ground. If it's a battle of the high ground, you're both at the same level. It doesn't matter. No one's going to have the advantage. However, if Bay State chooses to go for the we're going to force point play, Boise State will be at the advantage, so long as if they have that on a pick in their back pocket, but they have to know that going in, that is how they're going to play, because if they don't walk out with that and they choose to take the high ground and Bay State bunkers down on point, it's going to be a heck of a lot harder if they're mirror comping for Boise State to be able to get an advantage there.
Well, we're just kind of waiting for everything to play out. This will look way back to the beginning. Boise State, this was kind of the map that they had a lot of trouble with. This was a great shatter, though, to fight back on.
Yeah, and see that Matt Merck play? Matt has that's like the second or third massive shatter that Matt's had this evening. This man gets enough player in moments. That's why I was like, I'm ignoring Matthew Mercadante right now. Yes, you've been amazing. You've been a keystone player, but shush. We need to give the love to other people, which is why I'm like, let's go with Plato. Let's even go with Bagel. We could even go with Chosen. And, it's anybody's opportunity right now. I'm just not giving it to Matt.
It is kind of funny, though. You ask Matt Merck a question of who do you want to shatter this time, and he just answered yes.
Yes.
That's just basically how good some of his shatters have been right now, as we are still waiting on everything to work out here. We might actually have a swap of machines here. It's kind of one of the benefits of having an arena as large as this. If one of the machines is on the fritz, you can just swap over to something else.
Well, the thing that's also happening is that because Bay State is stationed in Boston, we've been going 50-50 on the server, and it's been East Coast, West Coast, and that's been putting our players and the Bay State players at large disadvantages, because there is no central server to split the difference here, so everyone's stuck on 150 ping even.
Right.
It's been either Bay State's at 200 ping or Boise State's at 200 ping, so that's probably why we've seen a lot of flippy-floppy of who's kind of got the higher advantage here, is because of ping making such a huge difference, especially when we have such strong hit scan players. Ping is a huge issue there, and then echo players, there's abilities that are affected by your ability to manipulate your shift ability with ping as well. Being on high ping can make that difficult. And then last but not least, the shattered demons that come in the form of Matt Merck and Faded on the other side. Being able to block shatters, especially like a calculated phase shatter, knowing the predictability of the other player. Yes, you can do it if you're all on the exact same ping or you have the better ping, but whoever has the higher ping is going to have a much more difficult time blocking a phase shatter that is easily predicted and even sometimes telegraphed by the other Ryan. If the ping is higher for Matt Merck in this case, trying to block it, or for Faded, trying to block Matt Merck in return. So we're trying to get that equalized right now, so both teams are kind of on equal footing either way. It's a difficult situation to work out with. This is one of the things that comes with esports. It's something that's being worked on. We'll get it figured out, but right now, we're working it out.
We just got to deal with hotel Wi-Fi every now and then.
Yes!
Which I have to ask, because you've been a member of the esports team for a long while. I'm sure you've had plenty of experiences playing on hotel Wi-Fi as well.
I've had a few experiences. I've also had the experience of there not being enough machines when going to LANs. That's been interesting.
Oh, that's a problem.
As my time as a caster has gone forward, I've also been casting from a central location and finding out that there are students playing on hotel Wi-Fi in their hotel room completely across the country with a laptop that was given to them by their director or by their coach. And of course, they're like, I'm not used to this. I'm not used to the size of machine and all of that. And they still play very well. I mean, it's just, you have to play adaptively and you have to be used to not being in your native environment. And one of the things that's really cool about our programs like this is that there are some organizations that put together these tournaments that are like, oh, hey, yeah, so we're going to play. Yes, it's going to be across the country. Y'all are going to be in virtual arenas with each other, but everyone on a single team has to be in the same central location. And that can throw some teams for a loop because they're used to not having to be able to abide by that rule, and they're able to play from home and just make sure they're all in the lobby on time. But there are tournaments that force the hands of the players and coaches to play together, and that sometimes can be the undoing for some teams. And I definitely know that not being in your natural environment and not being adaptable enough to play somewhere else can really throw some players off their game.
I'm not going to lie to you, Nerdy. You were talking about laptops. I remember at a time when there was someone who, in a group get-together that I was at, someone who was like a very old-school computer user, and they brought this 90s era or late 80s era laptop that was actually like a briefcase that turned into a laptop.
Oh
and
my
it was
goodness.
like had 50 kilobytes of memory on it, and he could only really run Word on
Like
it.
solitaire?
Yeah,
and
you can
Word?
you can type like 2 sentences in Word, and now you've used up all of the storage. So it hasn't been as bad as that, I'm sure. Although I'm still sure that laptop could run League, though. So that's one thing it has going for it. But yeah, sometimes you just can't play on the machines you want. But you're amazed at how good these players are at adapting to the situations given to them.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, playing, at least in the case where it was Boise State, I know for a fact they were playing on 200 ping. I might message one of the Bay State players and ask, like, what was the highest ping you guys were stuck on? They'd probably say 200 to 250 as well when they were flip-flopping servers. So we're trying to equalize it for this final match to give everyone the absolute best opportunity to go against one another. But ping is a demon, and there's a saying of, like, you know, there's blame it on the controller and then there's blame it on the ping. And right now it feels like both teams are blaming the current situation on the ping, and I really hope it gets fixed. It sounds like we're about to get it fixed, though.
All right, it does look like a solution is going forward, so we will be ready to jump back into the action. Once again, this is Boise State versus Bay State, an ECAC Collegiate Overwatch. It is a best of 5, and both Boise State and Bay State have gotten 2 wins and have driven it down to the final map, which is going to be Busan. Everyone is ready to start up here. And it looks like we are getting a little bit of an update here. What do you have for us, Nerdy?
So it sounds like because of the unusually high ping that Boise State was dealing with, they were getting booted from the lobby and could not get back in. And unfortunately, Bay State has decided to rulebook Boise State, and that is understandable. It does happen. So I mean, we've used rulebooks against other teams, and they can do it back to us. We took more than 15 minutes in order to get back into the lobby at full force, and so therefore we have to take the forfeit here. As I mentioned earlier, though, this game did not ultimately impact the seeding of either team. This was more like a morality kind of older siblings kind of chiding at each other and chipping at each other a little bit. This was more for the morality boost anyway, so Boise State will walk away with the loss.
And, of course, like true siblings do kind of rulebook each other right now.
Exactly. Someone called in mom and dad, and this time I totally understand.
He started before me.
Bay State gets to walk away with that one in their pocket for the future. But know that the next time we'll get this figured out, and Boise State will not walk away with an easy forfeit victory handed over to you guys on a silver platter. We will come back for revenge because that was such an insanely close game. I'm sad we won't see the conclusion. I understand, though. It's later over there than it is here, and you all need to get to bed.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, the one upside is that when these two teams undoubtedly meet later in the season, the question of who will beat the other will still be very undecided. So it's kind of undecided between these two teams. But now we go to what we were talking about earlier, player of the game, and you've kind of named all of your...
I've named like everybody but Matt, okay?
You've covered your bases by just naming every player on the team, so I appreciate it. That's a good strategy.
I'm sorry. It's just
I get it. You're playing roulette. If you put the chips on every number, you're going to get something.
They all did so good, okay? And I genuinely know that if I were going into this without knowing that Matt had won so many players of the games before, I would totally been like, yeah, Matt Merck, easily. But I'm like, Matt, you get it too freaking often. Share the love,
Which you're basically tempting production
I know
here.
I'm tempting production right now. I'm kind of challenging them, too, to see if they can pick someone else. Oh, my God, is it my secondary pick? Is it Plato? It is Plato! Yes!
Plato doing a great job getting the ICCU Player of the Game, brought to you by Idaho Central Credit Union, who believes a great player makes a team more successful, just like Idaho Central's helping members achieve financial success. Plato is your ICCU Player of the Game. And overall, we just saw great play from him on Kings Row, the one that really helped Boise State rally. They were on fire when it came to the stage here on Kings Row. They were so excited that they managed to fight back and stage such a great defense.
It was absolutely fantastic, and I was really excited to be able to watch the Busan match play out. But, you know, there's always going to be a next time because this is not the end of our story. This doesn't knock anybody out. At the end of the day, technology is not always everyone's best friend, but next time, when we're on equal footing, we'll see who comes out on top. Bay State, whether it's you guys or Boise State. I have a hunch it's going to be my boys in blue. But congratulations, everyone. Y'all fought very hard for this evening, and in our hearts, we know they're true victors.
We're going to leave you with the top 5 plays of the game, brought to you by the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time. More than 10 jobs offering a $20,000 bonus and your degree of choice paid for. Idaho Army National Guard is one of the best teams to join out there. Reach out to them on Twitch at iGuard Gaming. That's going to do it for the Overwatch match tonight, and enjoy your top 5 plays of
Fortunately, Plato just peaked it a little too strong when the defense matrix had gone down. That's something to keep in mind, is when there is a Widow called and your Diva calls it, odds are they're trying to tell you to get out of their way. And now Plato's going to pay back that early death by possibly taking out Inferno's mech. They do. That is going to slow down the momentum here for the side of Bay State quite a bit. Mortality field, so now Boise State needs to be careful. If they get shattered and Chosen does not have any more up, things are going to go bad. And barrier for Matlock is low. Here, Tyler come out. Matlock takes out one. Two goes down to Sunzu. Sunzu takes out another. It is just Diva left standing. Stagger the baby. Do not let Pilot do anything.
Bob is brought out by Cade to get some presence on the point, and one Bob deserves another as Plato throws out their Bob, and it is just a Bob fight back and forth, but with Infernal and Faded taking out both of the tanks gone for Bay State. Boise State manages to hold with no ticks given over to Bay State.
And now they can stagger out the supports to break the barriers and see Boise State capitalize. Pick up Doomsday. Not something we normally see. May is caught up. Boise State needs to turn around and take May down if they want to win this fight.
Wow, it is such a drawn-out fight, but there goes the main taken out by Kel, as we're saying, Nerdy. Boise State managing to get the... Boise State is taking this point with ferocity. Can they get at least one tick? Well, that's a great double from that Coalescence by Chosen. Madberg following that up. They get at least 2 ticks. Will Bay State be able to respond in time? Oh, they just barely, they just have to stay on that payload all this time, and they go up. Boise State takes it,